guys. Hey guys, this is Hybrid. Today I'll be reviewing Matt Wagner's trilogy. I've had this for like a few years. It came out, I want to say, sorry, bear with me here. I know it's so unprofessional and whatnot, but whatever. This came out 2004. So it was a mini series. Basically, it's telling the story of how Batman and Superman met Wonder Woman. So in this comic, Batman and Superman have already known each other. It's a fantastic story. The villains are Ra's or Ra's al Ghul, Artemis, and well, Artemis is debatable. Like, she is in the league with the villains, but she changes heart later. And Bizarro's in it too. So this doesn't really, like, I'm gonna review it obviously now. That's the whole point of this video. But I guess the negatives, I'll start with the negatives, now I'll go into the positives. The negatives are the fact that they kind of assume you know the relationship of Batman and Superman. So that's not a biggie because most people do, but if you're a totally new reader, you may be a little bit confused, like how they know each other, how far is the relationship, etc. Also, pacing in this comic is kind of debatable, just because, like, as you can see here, there's a lot of, like, not speech bubbles, but narration text, or like the character's thinking to himself. In my opinion, they don't really do a good job telling you or letting you at least know which character is speaking, because usually in comics they'll do something like personalize the bubble, right? To let you know the character. Like, let's say it's Batman and Superman. Batman will, let's say, get a darkish blue one, maybe a grayish one, something like that. Maybe there'll be a little bit of a bat in it, like the text bubble thing, to let you know it's him thinking, while Superman's might have, it might be a lighter blue or like a red, and maybe you'll have like the House of L symbol with it, or Wonder Woman's will be yellow. This doesn't have that. It all essentially looks the same. The first letter of the word is a color, but sometimes, like, let's say it's a dark purple, you think that's Batman, but it's actually Superman thinking, and then it's Wonder Woman thinking, and it's like they don't really do a good job, in my opinion, letting you know which character's thinking. So you kind of have to, like, base it off of, you know, your knowledge of the character. So for example, let's say Superman's running around and he's thinking about it, kind of like, oh, the man's world is so this. Obviously, it's Wonder Woman thinking that. So you kind of have to go by it yourself. So I think in my opinion, they could have done a better job with the whole the thinking bubbles, narration bubbles, to let you know when it goes from third-person narration to character thoughts. And also, I think the last thing is probably just how, well, the only other negative I really have in this is that the comic, it kind of speeds up at times. Like, they build up to, you know, the climax, and the climax happens rather quickly, and then after that, the rest of it's just like the fallout of that. So I think I wish they could have taken more time with the climax, considering how much buildup they had to it. But that's my only negatives. The comic overall, it's a great comic. I love the story. I think it's really interesting how they have it. Like, this is the infamous comic people always like showing the panel of, where Batman kisses Wonder Woman. Let's see if I can find it. Bear with me here. It has a lot of cameos too, with, you know, like Aquaman cameos and things like that. So there you go, infamous Batman kissing Wonder Woman thing, because Batman's overcome by her beauty and whatnot. But honestly, props out to Matt Wagner. He not only did the penciling for this, but he wrote it. So very good job on his part. It's a well-crafted story. I loved how he did a really good job basically writing Superman as Superman, writing Batman as Batman, and writing Wonder Woman as Wonder Woman. Like, sometimes when a writer is writing these different characters, they might overlap a bit, or they might go way too far to make them distinct characters. Matt Wagner doesn't do that. He gets a good blend of familiarity. I can't even say the word for some reason. He basically does a good job of, you know, separating the characters' personalities so you can tell who they are, while also at the same time kind of making them, you know, somewhat similar, so you could believe that they, you know, mesh together pretty well. Especially since I talked about pacing and things like that. Wonder Woman becomes very cohesive with them very quickly. And you know, for some that might be an issue because it's like why it's like 1 second they're already all working together perfectly. They kind of like the way he writes these characters, it makes sense. Like Superman, he's pretty open for being a team player, while Batman, on the other hand, isn't. He's more of a solo person. So they have that, and all in all, I think the art's pretty well done. I can't really complain much about the art. The only thing I can say about this is that I wish they made a sequel because they do set up for it. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but they set up for another sequel, or for a potential sequel to this. But as far as I know, they never made one, so that kind of stinks. And I doubt they're going to make one now with the New 52. But I have this, so I thought I'd review it. I'll review more of these if you guys like it. Kind of like how I did Spider-Man Blue. Again, you see me in person, not just a voice behind an image. So I hope you guys like this. I find this pretty interesting. It says 3 timeless American icons, because usually they don't, at least for Superman and Wonder Woman, they don't like tying them that much into America anymore. But, and Batman is not really tied to America either. He's just, the Dark Knight, yada yada. So I find it interesting, just kind of not classic DC per se, well, debatable classic. It's not like Kingdom Come classic, but at the same time, it's at that same standard. Well, where DC has really great miniseries and Elseworld Tales, and this is a good example of it. So if I were to give it a score, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. The reason why it's not a 10 out of 10 is because it's not a perfect comic. Very few comics hit that for me. Watchmen came very close, but I gave it a 9.5. And, maybe I'll review Watchmen too, because I have that. But also, look, Spider-Man, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America. So, I think I might review something else, like maybe an X-Men comic or something like that. I have a Gambit one. You guys probably like Gambit. But, yeah, so I'm kind of rambling now. 9.5 out of 10. Great art, great story. Characters are written very well. Only problems, some pacing issues. The narration / thought bubbles could have been better, distinct. They come in better, unique, basically separated to a way where you could actually tell, without going through some trouble to determine who's thinking what, etc. And also, just maybe for some newcomers, they might get a bit, confused to a degree. But for the general population, they know Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, so no problems there. And yeah, this is Hybrid. Please subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you guys later. And I pause this now.